Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't know why I am showing up like this. Give me 1 second. I do want to see. This is my first time scheduling a live. And yeah, bound to have some kind of technical difficulties, right? Oh, I think what I need to do is do this. There we go. Figured it out. Simple as that. All right, guys, without further ado, we are going to be talking about the Ace Tell All Love Island interview that that aired today with Speedy, who was a journalist, and he really got really nitty and gritty in the interview. And let's talk about it. Okay, so we are going to get into the things. So Ace is claiming this is going to be his one and done interview. He's not going to be doing any more interviews. He's going to address everything because he felt like he didn't really he wasn't able to get the full story out there to the world about what happened to him. He was feeling that people were not being 100% truthful on their intentions and like conversations they had like outside the villa and in the villa. And he really didn't like how he was portrayed being on the show, and he's really kind of disappointed with it, and overall having like anxiety about it. It's infecting his like I'm not going to say his self-esteem, but it's just making him question himself. And his family is receiving threats because of this show, which is never okay. We don't condone bullying over here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So let's continue talking about how he was portrayed. He basically was saying that he didn't like how he was portrayed. He felt like he kind of was given like a villain role in a sense. And he didn't really like that because he said in the villa, he was like encouraging people. He was getting people excited for like the activities, the challenges, and he was cooking for people. And he was just really being a voice of reasoning for others. So he really felt some type of way that some of the islanders that he thought was really close to him, they weren't really defending him. Like, everyone is doing press right now. And they weren't really defending him like out in the public when they're doing like interviews and stuff like that with press. And he really wasn't feeling that at all because he said he's always, like stood up for people and was there for people in the villa and even outside the villa. So he was just very disappointed, and he was very disappointed too with the reunion as well. So that's why he wanted to do this outside interview. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about him and Amaya. He said he didn't appreciate the fact that Amaya was like feeding into like social media stuff. And they had a conversation like outside of the villa. He expressed how he was feeling, and like Amaya was like kind of feeding into that narrative. So that's why he brought it up in the reunion, because he said he's the type of person, like, if you're going to do something, we have this reunion, we have these engagements, you need to make your apology or say your piece out loud, period. You need to say your piece out loud and be able to stand behind what you're saying. Sorry, guys, I have a fan on and it's getting on my nerves, the hair. Which I agree with him. My thing is, don't have my back behind closed doors. If you say you're my friend and you're not fucking with how people are portraying me and what is going on, then you need to go ahead and do that. Period. That's just what it should be like. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, guys, because the internet is going in and out. I may just have to talk to you guys and you guys not see my face. All right, guys. Can you guys hear me? What is going on? Oh my God. It's not like showing me now. Okay. I'm having technical difficulties. I don't know if I'm ever going to do this again, like how it is going. Um, I don't know what is going on with the internet right now. Okay. So I definitely am in agreement with Ace on, you need to keep that same energy. Don't say one thing behind closed doors, but then you're acting a certain way, like in public. I don't agree with that at all. So I definitely agree with that. Now, the height thing did come up as well in the interview, and he said he's about 5'10". Um, and he also said like he enjoyed the memes. People were making fun of his height and things like that, but he didn't really appreciate the whole Amaya situation and how she was playing into that. Now, he also talked about Huda, the whole like heart rate challenge and everything. He kind of like he took some accountability, but like doubled down a little bit about the whole situation, talking about, your heart rate could get like challenged, rather your could race basically, depending on, like you get sad, you get mad, and all this other kind of crap. And I was just like, boy, just say you had a good old time. Hi, Life Pack Tony, how are you, baby? Sorry, I just saw your comment, honey. Um, okay. We're going to get a little bit into Huda a little later on. He also talked about how he felt like Jalen should have been on the show a little bit longer, but like there was others that influenced that decision. So that's essentially why Jalen was off of the show. I personally felt like Jalen should have been on there a little bit as well, more. What I'm saying, because I would have loved to see his personality. I felt like his time was just cut too short, so I really didn't appreciate that. And I also wanted to see, if he would have stayed longer, to find out the whole Taylor situation, um, what Alandra would have given him more of an opportunity to really get to know her, and she truly put herself out there. You said you're good, long time to see. I am great, thank you, and that is fantastic that you're doing great, Tony, for real. So I'm with him on that. He did speak about Nick and Orlandra. There was kind of basically he was saying that their relationship, I'm not going to say is not real. He said that they're physically attracted to each other, but he said personally that Nick told him there was like no romantic chemistry whatsoever. And I'm just like, oh my God, why would you? I get it. This is where the 22, being 22 comes into play right here. When you are 22, you just want to blabber. You just want to say everything, like there is a beauty to keeping some stuff to yourself. If they want to ride off to the sunset and collect all of these endorsements and do whatever, don't try to put another wrench into what they already are experiencing. And what, especially Orlandria, if you claim that really is your friend and you care about her, well, for one, if you really cared about her and that was your friend, you should have told her about the Taylor situation right there. So that was being hypocritical. And then secondly, you should have, I don't know if he talked to her and he told her before he did this interview, but if he didn't, that was pretty crappy. And she didn't like it too. And I'll show you guys some footage. Well, not footage, but I'll show you what she posted. Um, Not looking too good for Ace. I wouldn't have said that. I would have said that, people's intentions are not where they're not where they're supposed to be at, basically. And I wouldn't have said any names. You could have said some stuff without saying any names. Now let's talk about the Olandria Shelley situation when Huda went on the Call Me Daddy podcast when she said that she was bullied in the villa inside and out, and the cast didn't agree with that. And Olandria and Shelley definitely didn't agree with that. He said that he didn't witness those two beautiful women bully her as well. And he didn't like the situation where Huda did not back up, especially Olandria, because she was closer to Huda than Shelley, with like addressing her fans and everything like that. Now, I kind of am on a double-edged sword with this because when you are a social media influencer, you could tell your fans to like stop it. That doesn't mean that they're going to stop it. You're going to have some people that are just, they can't control themselves. They're going to do whatever they want to do. But if Huda really valued her friendship, or even if she didn't consider Shelley her friend, but if they reached out to you, talked to you, said that your fans is bothering them, making them feel uncomfortable, they're saying racist posts, they're trolling them, you just being a decent human being would come out, whether it's a live, whether it's a post, like say, hey, I don't condone any type of bullying whatsoever. Like, leave them alone. Even for the people that you don't necessarily like, Huda, you could have told your fans to calm down. So I'm with the Islanders that said that. That was totally out of line. You went up there clarifying on your social media about other stuff. You didn't want to get misinterpreted. You went on podcast. You went on social media platforms, but you can't address them. Like, girl, that's why I said Huda is weird. Huda is not someone like, you don't bring nobody of value around her. That girl has problems. Especially when I found out, I didn't personally see it, but especially when I found out that her fans was putting like Olandria's face on George Floyd's body, like that was completely unacceptable. Like, girl, what? I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I was gonna say something. And anyways, he talked about Olandria and Shelley really stayed true to themselves throughout the villa. He did talk about there was fake relationships in the villa. And he didn't really necessarily agree with the final couples. And he was basically saying him and Shelley was real and Taylor and Clark is real. And he questions the motives of Nick and Olandria. So, and everyone else was just fake. And we just saw too, Amaya announced that she's not with Brian. So that was a no-brainer. He did mention this, and I thought this was very interesting to talk about. He said that because Speedy brought up the race. He brought up the race, how the black women had to move, in the villa, how the black men had to move in the villa compared to their counterparts in the villa. And he said, the consistency, and I didn't realize this. He said the people that were the consistent the most was the black couples. And he was right. He was really right. They were consistent. They knew what they wanted. They went for it. Everyone else was, oh, I'm still exploring. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I'm doing that. But you knew exactly with the black people who they really wanted. So he was right about that. I agree. Ace did talk about how his feelings was a little bit hurt, how people were moving like outside the villa. He said that his current friends, like friend groups that were in the villa, like he's still cool with outside the villa, is Olandria, Shelley, Taylor, Brian, and Jeremiah. And I thought that was pretty alarming because I have been watching a lot of the interviews from the Islanders, not all of them, but most of them, and especially Nick. And Nick is always talking positive about Ace. So I don't know what happened outside of that villa, but it's a mess. He said that him and Nick is cool, but they're just not as close outside of the villa. And I guess Nick and Ace had a conversation, like Ace had brought up to Nick, like, hey, can you address what's going on? Why I'm getting all this hate? Can you clarify? And Nick kind of came off nonchalant to him, like, oh, I'm over it. And basically he wasn't gonna address it. So that kind of rubbed him the wrong way and he wasn't feeling it. Ace also said that he saw, the funny little tribute prank that Nick had with the Nick like tattoo, comparing it to like Ace back tattoo. So I just thought that was very interesting. He said, yeah, basically that's, it's all fun and games, but at the end of the day, like he really cares about how someone talks about him behind closed doors and also in public. And he really wasn't feeling how Nick was moving and like his intentions on what was really going on. And he also doesn't like how he is moving with Olandria. Like he said without saying it, he doesn't believe their relationship. So that's just what it is. Now, I will give him credit though, because people are going to eat him alive. I am going to watch other YouTubers and podcasters to see their reaction to this Ace interview. But what I will say is when Speedy was asking difficult questions about the couples, who did he feel like was real couples? Who did he feel like were good, genuine people and things like that? He was very hesitant. So I would say to me, I don't feel like he's being messy. He's just speaking his piece, especially when he was trying to be silent, but he eventually, like Speedy, kept asking the same question in a different way. And eventually Ace opened up and answered the question that he really wanted the answer to. So, okay, I already talked about that. Speedy did bring up the fact that he wanted to get Ace's opinion. Do the Islanders feel like they get like more opportunities when they are in a couple relationship and things of that nature? And Ace said yes. He said yes, that they do. And some people, they play the system, and rightfully so. Get that bag, shoot. But if you're going off of the principle of the show, you're there for love. So if you're not there for love, why are you faking it? So that's kind of like what Ace was saying. So Speedy also asked about Shelly and Ace, were they boyfriend and girlfriend yet? And Ace just gave a very like roundabout answer. No, they're not serious. Well, I shouldn't say they're not serious, but they're not official, but they are exclusive. And he also wanted to address the fact that people keep saying, oh, he's young, he's 22, and she's 28. How could he really know a relationship? And like he's immature, he needs to grow up. How is it going to work? And he said due to his trauma and due to things that he had to go through, he had to grow up really fast. So, and for that, I could sympathize and empathize with him because, especially he's from LA. He's from LA. He lived in Long Beach. He lived in Watts before. Those are like my old stumping grounds too. And I'm gonna, I agree with him. Being a LA County native, you grow up fast in these minority neighborhoods. You have to grow up fast. There is so much exposure to so much different things. And my mom and my dad did a very good job of like keeping me away from that. I used to have to go to school in another neighborhood. So I definitely found like a relation to Ace even more because he said he would like be traveling through, these minority neighborhoods, but then going to a really awesome school. I experienced that too. So I see where he's coming from. I feel like Ace is really misunderstood, but I also feel like he does need to like rethink how he is coming off to people. You already know that America is kind of looking at you sideways right now, which you're so used to them looking at you in a positive light. You know, you were on national TV before. You're known to be an internet sensation, and going into the villa, it kind of villainized you, and you're having a hard time understanding that, especially you've been the light of the party. Guys, hit that thumbs up button, please. You've been the light of the party. You've been, encouraging people, really giving people advice and things of that nature. And I get it. That's hard for him to swallow. So I definitely understand where he said he was having anxiety and he was having depression and things of that nature. So I definitely understand that. And I was able to relate with him because, yes, when you go through a lot of trauma, you do grow up fast, and just like being an only child, you grow up fast. So it's just is what it is. Or you're like the oldest of like your siblings, you grow up fast. So I agree with not Nick, Ace with that. Now, Speedy did ask him, he said, "Do you regret going on to the show?" And he took a while to like pause and everything. And you could tell he was really trying to think about his response and what was going on. And essentially, he said he doesn't regret like meeting Shelly, his experience, but he regrets everything else on the show because his feelings really got hurt. His family is getting like threats and everything like that. And it's really not worth it at the end of the day. And he said he was getting all of this. He had followers, like he didn't do anything for clout. And, for people to say like he was doing stuff for clout, he said he had clout prior to here. Like other people needed to get clout, basically. So when people were having those conversations, he said in the villa, they were talking about the money. They were talking about, like what was your following count prior to coming in here? What do you think your following count is going to be once we get out of here? He said he already experienced those things. He didn't really care about those things. So yeah, I'm trying to see if I forgot anything. He also talked about Adriana as well. He didn't appreciate the clout thing. He said he already basically had clout before then. He didn't like the fact that production did not show how Amaya and him, like there was other conversations that happened prior to their disagreement that was not aired. And I definitely understood when Ace broke it down and explained to us that Amaya was kind of like emotionally dumping on him, like talking about like her past relationships and the trauma she's been in. And that could be a lot, especially for someone that's very reserved like him. So I definitely understand where he was coming from with that. But yeah, he just called people out. Now I'm going to give my opinion going forward what I think he should do. I think he should do press. I don't think he should touch on the subject anymore. You said your piece. You said this is your one and done. You don't want to do any more conversations about Love Island. Don't talk about it anymore. Let it die down. You do your social media thing, your dance class and everything like that. You're rapping, your music, whatever other social media stuff that you're doing. You go ahead and do that. I would love to see Ace and Shelly with the production team, like have them follow them around, like they get that YouTube and Snapchat money. I would love to see that, like daily vlogs. I would like to see their relationship progress and them just really take the narrative on it. Now, I do think Ace needs to be a little bit more mindful because you are in a relationship with Shelly. You are, rather believe it or not, you two are a package deal. So if you are coming off, harsh or standoffish or unprofessional, that's going to potentially impact Shelly. And I don't like the fact that you're not doing a whole bunch of the press stuff with Shelly either. Like this experience, yes, you guys got the end goal of experience, but you guys need to also capitalize. I don't know what Shelly was doing prior to this. You have this social media bag. Let her do her thing. She's a beautiful girl. She needs to get endorsements with makeup, fashion, whatever she wants to do in the social media outlet. So you guys could be a powerhouse couple that I know you guys could be. So, yeah. And I definitely understand how his demeanor is, especially being an LA native. Like, you can tell he's been through some things. just how hard he is, but he's also very like careful with what he says, and what he means, and he gonna stand behind it, and that is so a LA thing, and I appreciate it. I appreciated this interview. I actually enjoyed it. I felt like the interview should have been the same energy like that Speedy should have actually interviewed. Andy and Ariana could have still been there with her gorgeous self, but not really say that too much. But Speedy should have been the one doing the hosting. I like Andy too, but like I don't know if it was the networking or what, but oh, and apparently in the reunion there was more conversations, but they weren't displayed to the public. So I don't know. That's one of the things that you take a chance with when you go on these TV shows. They could make you out to be whatever, and that impacts you. So you really need to think about that and how it will impact your family as well. But that's the review. I really enjoyed the interview. He don't need to do no more interviews. He does need to do some public appearances though. And he also needs to be mindful too. Ace, you don't know who's watching. There's a lot of people watching. A lot of people watching. Don't block your blessing, and don't block Shelly blessing. That is my advice to Ace. I hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown and my recap of what I saw. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video and share. And don't forget to comment. I love you guys as always. Bye, babes.